Hello, it's Miss Morgan with another PowerPoint video. This one will be about the Aztecs, daily life in Tenochtitlan, which was their capital, and just facts in general that tell you about the Aztecs. So one thing that was really important to them were the chinampas that they made, and this was the farmland that they created since they settled in the middle of a lake, and this allowed them to build up their land and have over 5 square miles that was part of the capital. The next slide has some pictures about what chinampas look like. Well, the picture on the left is a photo, and then the picture on the right is just a drawing, and you can see that there's the land. The chinampas, if you look on the right-hand picture, you can see the water that's going in between the plots of land, and that they would travel in canoes in those waterways. And this method of farming was very successful for the Aztecs, and it shows a way that they were resourceful because they were able to build farmland in the middle of a lake. The next slide will have another picture of chinampas, and I'm going to briefly explain how they were built. So what you would do is you would mark out the plot with posts and fence it with woven branches, and then you would plant trees all around. The roots were going to give the chinampa support. So if you look at these willow trees, you can see that they have the roots at the bottom, and that's what's stabilizing the land. Okay. Then you would fill the enclosure with mud scooped from the bottom of the lake, plus dead twigs and vegetable scraps. Mix it all together. It would be left to rot, and then you would dig the new ground. You would not plant any seeds until the government gives you orders, otherwise you're punished. And then if you've set up the chinampa well, then you have what is in this picture right here. The trees are firmly rooted to the bed of the lake, and then you have your farming on the chinampas. All right, this next slide just tells you a little bit about what was in Tenochtitlan, the capital. So you have the Great Temple, you have shrines to certain gods, Huitzilopochtli, that's how you say the sun god and god of war, and then Tlaloc is the rain god. They had this unique thing called a skull rack that had different skulls of thousands of people who had been sacrificed. This song is for those unfortunate souls.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey.
All right, so the Aztecs had lots of enemies because of lots of warfare, and they sacrificed a lot of people. All right, this slide tells you a little bit about the royal palace. Okay, so most of it's already filled in for you. Another thing I want to mention is that if the video is going too slow for you to write down information, then you should pause it and catch up and write what you need to, and then restart the video. All right, so this just tells you a little bit about what was near the royal palace, the aviary, and a royal zoo. So they were saying animal, that's Def Leppard, a group that was popular when I was in high school back in the 80s and early 90s. All right, next up, we have a little more about the social classes. Okay, so you're going to be filling information in about the ruler. So you should do that. And an interesting fact about that was that it was not hereditary, they were chosen. Okay, so when you're done filling that in, one thing that's mentioned on the slide, tribute, which was in the outline that you did, came from the book. Tribute is a payment from conquered people. So this is what the Aztecs got from the people that they conquered. So a little more about tribute. Some of the tax collectors went around collecting it from people the Aztecs conquered, and then the next bullet just gives you some numbers as to what was collected yearly, and that's a lot of stuff. Okay, that totally did not start where I wanted it to. That's from a song that's called Just Got Paid, and that didn't really work out, but I'm kind of on a time crunch, so I'm moving on. All right, next topic. We have other social classes. Information about the nobles and priestesses. This is something that only happened in Aztec society, so you may want to write that to the side. You have the traders, okay, people who traded goods and were important for that reason. Okay, then you have a little information about peasants. All right, those are the commoners that you wrote about. I think the book calls them commoners. All right, so peasants, and then we have slaves. So the Maya also had slaves. You may want to put that in your notes. The Inca did not. Gaining freedom after working off a debt or finishing their term of punishment for a crime was only the Aztecs. Actually, gaining freedom, just the ability to gain freedom, was only true of the Aztec society. At this point, you're going to flip over the packet, and there's some boxes on the back, and the A kind of got caught off when I photocopied this, but you're going to write one fact about the Aztecs that you've written down so far, and then you're going to explain why you think it's important. So you should pause the video and do that at this point. This little song clip is for the slaves. I forgot about it.
I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free from your lies. You're so self-satisfied. I don't need you.
Okay, that was Queen. All right, on to marriage. So the men basically were the same age when getting married as they were for the Maya and the Inca. And just like the Maya, you have a matchmaker, and then there's another fact about the bride's family after that. Here's one of my favorites. Bob Marley. All right, more on marriage. So these are just some more facts that you have, and they are all filled in for you, so you can read them over. The interesting fact is the middle one about the matchmaker carrying the bride on her back to the wedding. All right, next topic has to do with marriage, and this is all filled in for you. Just you may want to put to the side of the first bullet that men having as many wives as they could afford was for only nobles. Okay, the next topic has to do with what men and women were responsible for doing, and the fact you're writing in, I just thought was interesting, pertained to married women. For the two bullets underneath about men and women, you could put to the side same as Maya and Inca, because that is relevant for those other groups as well. Okay, so we're going to move on to a little more about family life. Again, if anything's going too fast, pause it, get what you need to write down, and move on. All right, on this slide, you're writing in something about the role of women and what was valued. And this is not my favorite artist, but I know there's some students who do like, well, this isn't the original artist, but this song comes from a singer that some students like, but not a lot these days, but still it fits the topic of the first two bullets.
And I was like, baby, 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 oh, like baby, 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 oh, like baby, 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 oh, I thought you'd always be mine.
All right, so for you Bieber fans, I hope you liked it. Okay, next up, boys in school. All right, it was only the boys. So girls, you were just working and doing other things. All right, so we have what education was like for commoners in the first two bullets, and then for sons of nobles. And as the writing indicates on the slide, they did not attend the same school. All right, just this slide explains what their education was like if you were a boy. All right, and they needed a lot of soldiers. They were involved in a lot of warfare and conquering, so that's why the commoner sons were trained to be soldiers. At this point, you're going to go back to page 4 in the boxes, and in box B, find a fact that shows the Aztec were similar to the Maya. In box C, find a fact that shows how the Aztecs were unique and different from the Maya, and write those in on page 4 in the relevant box. So this slide is all about food for commoners. So I don't know if you're hungry or what appeals to you, but it went from the ordinary, like maize, tortilla, red peppers, tomatoes, to unique, hairless dog, insect eggs, algae cakes. This song is for the hairless dog for special occasions.
Let the dogs out! Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
All right, an oldie but goodie. Here's a picture of a hairless dog on the next slide. Roof, roof, roof. All right, foods for the rich. Wing dance, axolotl, cocoa, pineapple, oysters, crabs. Good. All right, markets. Okay, so you're writing a little bit about the markets. There might be a lot of people here selling all sorts of things, and it might just be as great as the mall, buying all sorts of fun stuff like gold, pottery, chocolate, yum, yum. Markets in general, you're just going to write in a little fact about the professional traders and why they were valued. So you should do that. I would hate to leave out the Beastie Boys, so this little clip is for them related to the last bullet on this slide.
Let's try to negotiate. Let's try to negotiate. Let's try to negotiate.
Actually, it's the third bullet. I made a mistake. All right, a little more markets. There were guards to make sure people were honest. There was a little, just like you have mall cops and things like that, right? On segways and so forth. Then, all right, so you may not have enough time to write the whole thing down, so the video should be paused, but I only have 15 minutes to record, and I'm at minute 12, so I got to pick up the pace. So definitely pause the video if I'm going too fast for you. Notice the social aspect to markets, just like there might be a social aspect to the mall if you're into going to the mall. Okay, religion. So this tells you about religious practices. You're going to write down what they sacrificed to have Huitzilopochtli to give him strength. Okay, what did they sacrifice each morning? Why did they think blood was important? And why was sacrifice important to the Aztecs? That's explained in the last bullet. This is for religion. Good old Bon Jovi. All right, moving on, because now I'm down to 2 minutes. More on religion. There's going to be a picture of this sacrifice on the next slide, but one thing that the Aztecs sometimes did was pin the sacrifice victim down, cut out the heart, and sacrificed it. The next page has a picture. Kind of gruesome and disturbing, but that's what they did. All right, at this point, you're going to go to box D, and you want to look at page 3, find an interesting fact that you think is interesting, explain why it's interesting in box D on page 4, so pause the video and do that at this point. I'm going back a slide. I think I have time for this song.
Quit playing games with my heart, with my heart, I should.
All right. Okay, last topic, we're going to do recreation. All right, let's have some fun. All right, do you like board games? I do. So the Aztecs had a board game called Patoli, and it connected to their 260-day ritual calendar, which they had just like the Maya. Okay, so you 5 times around the board equal 260 days because there is 52 squares. 52 times 5 equals 260. Gotta love math, and all classes played it. Here's a picture. You can't really, you can only tell so much, but there's a picture of it. All right, I'm down to 30 seconds. More on recreation. Just like Pocketalk, they had the same ball game. It was called Tlachtli, so it had a different name, but it was the same game. And there were bets, and there was a religious significance to the ball court, so that information you're writing in on the last bullet on the slide.
You know the definition of a baller. That's me. C-H-I-N.
All right, That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. My time's almost up. See you next time.